I was on an ADHD and autism forum. I'm on a couple of those forums because it's interesting to find out what people are struggling with, and do I struggle the same, and all that sort of stuff. So, and I read this this article where this message post, sorry, not article. I read this message post where a woman had come on and she said, "I've got autism, and I really struggle when my boss puts a meeting in for me out of the blue with no context." And I'm going, okay, yeah, I can relate to that. That I can see how that would be triggering, because you know, and I do. So it was really interesting, you know. And I read it and I thought to myself, I tried to relate to it, and I was like, because I tried to relate to people's things, and do I feel that if I got a coping mechanism in place for that I could probably offer some support with, and I did, and I'll get to that in a minute. But yeah, I was like, I do actually remember, you know, I do actually remember those times, and I say remember because I put a coping mechanism in place for me. But I struggle massively with, you know, fucking coming in and seeing meetings, and I don't know what the context of the meeting is, and I don't know what the meeting's around. Should I come prepared? I don't know. It sends me on a complete and utter spiral. Used to all the fucking time, and till I put certain coping mechanisms in place. And I wrote the coping mechanisms on this forum, and everybody was like, actually, I never even fucking thought about that. And I said to, it was a really easy coping mechanism for me. I turned around and I said, speak with your boss. I said, have a word with your boss. When your boss puts a meeting in, can you ask him politely to let you know through either, you know, we've all got Teams messaging, we've all got whatever messaging you may use in your network, in your business environment, but there'll be something like an instant messenger, or send me an email. And I said, can you send me an email? My wording was, if you put a meeting in, can you send me an instant message to let me know what the meeting's about, so that I don't have to worry? And he was like, okay, why? And I explained to him, I said, well, ADHD autistic. I said, I stress because if you put a meeting in out of the blue, I'll think I've done something wrong. And because you're my boss. So I will sit there and I will stress about it, and I will worry about it unless you tell me that there's nothing to worry about and we're going to talk about this. And he was like, right. I said, even if you put it in the header, so I know that it's nothing important. So I put it into the meeting note. I said, so if you do those little tiny things, it makes my life a little bit easier. I said, if you don't want to do it, I've asked, you know, then that's up to you. I'm not going to force you to do it. But I said, it would help me immensely. So he went, then going forward, he said, absolutely no problems at all. And going forward, what he has done is every time he puts a meeting in, he puts it in the description, what we're talking about. So I know that I'm not in trouble. Okay. And it's such an easy thing to worry about, such an easy thing to stress about. And I turned around and said, well, that's all you've got to do. Speak to your boss and ask your boss, instead of just putting a blind copy in of a meeting request, ask him to advise you on what the meeting request is for. Do I need to come prepared? Do I need to read up and understand anything before I attend the meeting? It's a pretty basic thing, but at the same time, as a neurodivergent, I would stress out massively from doing that. If I just saw a meeting request come in, I'd be like, okay, I'm going to have to accept it, which I will do. I'll panic accept. And then what I'll do is I'll worry about it. I'll just continually worry about it. I'll say, so I don't want to do that. And then what I would normally do is message him, and I'll go, is everything okay? And he'd go, yeah. And I go, okay, well, you're not answering my question. You put a meeting in. Yeah, nothing to worry about. Because that's where he is, because he's obviously very busy. You know, and I'm like, okay, I get you're very busy, but I need to know if I've done anything wrong. That little tiny coping mechanism that I put in place just by being open and honest with my boss and with other colleagues that I work with routinely, just by putting in a request with them, I've basically I've made it so it's easier for me.